Better days are coming. Better days are coming. Children, children, stop your crying. Better days are coming. I don't want to hear that same song again. If I hear the same song, I might go insane. But you know I don't like that she's listening. That's how they say it, have a better day coming. But anyhow that I look around, I see the whole world heading for destruction. People committing crimes, that's what they escape. Say they're doing all that for the children. Better days coming and they coming and they coming and I'm waiting. They're lying, 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 lying. Children, children, stop your crying. Where your leader say, where your leader say? You wait, it's coming. Box workers on strike, all workers don't food. Right. So your children can get bus to go to school. The electric people cannot agree. Right. So no lights so your child to cram for GC. Because two big man can sit down like man and try to resolve a situation. The power hungry look they carrying on and losing the little children and all. Better. He coming and he coming and he coming and I'm waiting. We dying, 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 dying. Children, children, stop your crying. What your leader say, what you say? You wait at dead. $6 million for schools and 90 for bombs.
Right?
$8 million for house and 60 for gun. That is the type of budget we're making.
Right?
To get ready for this better days we're coming. 18-year-old joining up military to kill 18-year-old that they never see. That is the type of preparation it takes to live in this beautiful promised land. If a better world is their sole intention,
Right?
I don't want it in words, I want it in action. My child shouldn't live in no bed, no madman who anytime at all got with nuclear weapons. Because we all got to see a better days. So much that thing going on, that's amazing. I tell your friends, look, people, keep your hold and be to the little children. Better days are coming. Better days are coming. Children, children, stop your crying, 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 crying. You could hold on, I gone. We want to say again a beautiful good night to all you wonderful people. If you come here to hear all Black Stallion songs, you know you can't hear that in one night. So what we're going to do, we're going to sort of take out some of the most outstanding ones and some of them that we sort of keep doing and doing and we know that you would love. So tonight is a very special night. This one for you. So the trends are broke and they say that reset and jamming. I sort of foreign countries, yes, we start migrating. We lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more, but we see happy times again. For the will to recover in my people, I have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talking nonsense, but the majority of us decide we're not going to run, because now is the time for showing patriotism. Why our country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, keep ever your feet to
And good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Yes, my brothers and sisters in St. Vincent, into elections, yeah. St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Dominica. My brothers and sisters out there in Jamaica. Say a special good night to each and every one of you. Once again, it is Talking Points. My name, Sheldon Scott. I'm here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. I should be having a guest on with you. In fact, the guest there already. We papa. Hey, the guest there already. Hey. Yes, indeed. Yes, our guest is already here with us. Eh? Yeah.
But how the treasury broke and the country come back to square one. Who people remain on the same old ghetto in John. But look at we economy return today on some footing. It's the same for people 10 days and more that they're taking. And without social unrest for people paying the price. Because they know for the country not get so much. Don't sacrifice. Why? Our country facing. It's dark, it's
Yes, indeed, we are. They need you. New National Party supporters, your party and your country needs you. Remember, everybody, every single one of you listening to the program tonight have a responsibility before the end of November that you, in the 11th month of 2025, have the responsibility to find 11 new people and bring them home into the house of the New National Party. Huh? Last month you had the responsibility to find 10. If you didn't find your 10, you still have to find your 10 from last month and your 11 for this month. Yeah? Wait, I have to check something in a little while, you know. Yeah, let me let that tune finish because I have to check on something here.
But while outside, I want you to have some consideration that your country of birth is in its worst day in history, and we must do what we can, regardless where we may be. Why? Our country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, one little thing that I want we all sing together. One. This one for you especially, something like about 10 years we didn't put it together. But see if you remember this. Help me.
Yeah, you all know, I think our anniversary is sometime soon, you know.
Better days are coming. Children, stop your crying.
I'm just checking back, trying to verify, but the internet is moving so slow tonight.
I don't want to
I hope it isn't dropping off and so, but I know it's moving pretty slow tonight, yeah.
so I might go insane. But anyhow, I don't like that she's listening. That how they say it, have a better day coming. But anyhow, that I look around, I see the whole world.
Oh, we still have a few days.
People committing
Yes, our anniversary will be the 14th of November.
children.
Yeah, that'll be the anniversary of Talking Points, eh?
And they coming and I'm waiting. They're lying.
So, folks, I don't want to keep the guests waiting any longer. I know I have Dr. Honorable Dr. Modest on with us, yeah.
Box workers on strike, all workers don't food. So your children can get bus to go to school.
I don't want to keep the doc waiting too long, eh?
So no lights so your child to cram for GC. Because two big man can sit down like man and try to resolve a situation.
And let's see if we're hearing you proper. Good night to you, Doc. I believe you're hearing me. Your mic is still muted. You'll have to unmute. So go right ahead, Doc. Let's see if we're hearing you properly.
Yes, I am hearing you very well.
We're hearing you clear, like if you sit down in the
You
studio with
and-
me.
Yes, and good night to your listeners.
Yes, indeed, Doc.
Mhm.
How have you been going?
Pretty busy, but good.
Lovely.
Thank God for His mercies. I won't complain. You know, there are always things when one thing is fixed, another one gets broken. But
Mhm.
more are fixed than broken, so I consider it very, very well. Yes.
Yes, indeed. And we know that it has been a busy year for you thus far. We're heading down to the end of 2025. How have the people of St. Mark been coping? We know there are many challenges, but how
Well-
have they been coping?
Many challenges. They are exercising the resilience that I think Grenadians as a whole do generally exercise, but it's been challenging. It's been very challenging, and many of them are saying that they have never seen it so difficult before.
Mhm.
So yes, they're surviving, they're alive, and they're trying to make the best out of things. But there are certain developments, certain things that are happening that make it extremely difficult
Mhm.
for most people, I would say.
Yeah, because with the cost of living increasing in the way that we see it increasing, I mean, each time I see one of the government gazette comes out and it comes out with an increase, you're seeing the increases in the price of basic food, just food itself, much less for services. You were part of the new National Party administration when the decision was made to remove part of the tax on electricity to make it affordable for folks. How are people coping with that right now? I mean, I'm pretty sure as the MP, every now and again, somebody coming to you, Honorable Modest, we have a situation, they cut off the electricity and we have the children in the house. How has that part of it been going?
Well, prior to the removal of the, I would call it the safety net
Mhm.
that the new National Party had implemented by removing some of the taxes on the electricity bill. Prior to that, it was mostly the water, because the rates for Nawasa have gone up, and the connection fees, the fees for connection have also gone up. There are various ones. Only yesterday I was trying to understand how that is divided. So perhaps by the next session we can talk about that, or you can research it and pass it on to your listenership. But all of the fees that persons usually pay, whether it's to get a connection or the monthly fees, all of those have gone up significantly. And you know, there's a saying, and it's not far from the truth, that water is life. After God and air is water. And so some people who get disconnected, they have difficulties with that in managing the needs for water in their home, because it is just what can you do to manage it when you look at the need for, first of all, for intake of water. We are told at least 8 glasses per day.
Mhm. Mhm.
Some people say 12. And if you have 12 people in your family, you know how many glasses that would amount to. And also the domestic work, the cooking, the washing, the cleaning. We need water on a constant basis. So when persons get disconnected, of course, they do come to us. And so I hope we have a little time to talk about briefly though, about the $10,000, because it's something that we as MPs do have to take on at some times, and to deal with the falsehoods that are going around with that. so that persons understand what it is about and how it is operated or how we operate it on our side. I'm not sure how the other side does it, but how we do it on our side. And I think it is important that there is that kind of understanding. So if we don't cover that today, I think there's another time
No,
when
we gonna make sure we
perhaps
cover it. We gonna make sure we cover
perhaps
it.
all of us as MP should sit and explain what it is. And anybody with a reasonable understanding of finances and the demands on any finances, whether it's personal or otherwise, would understand that yes, it does stop a hole, as the people say, but it has to be accounted for and properly accounted for, and it doesn't go a long way as some of the programs that the New National Party undertook to assist our citizens in our various constituencies.
So, Dr. Modest, as you've raised that issue, let's get into it right away, because I want to raise another issue that's going to take quite a long period of time to go into. As you've raised that issue of the 10,000, today on social media, I've been seeing some individuals who honestly don't know better, but give the impression that they do, are saying, well, okay, the opposition did not go to Parliament today. They must take away the $10,000 that they get in. And it dawned on me that there are many people who know better and are putting out false information there. And there are even more people that do not understand what obtains in relation to this 10,000. Is it a situation that you get $10,000 cash, they hand you a stack of cash, and you take that and you put it in your pocket, and when people come up to you, they say, Honorable Modest, I need a little $10, and you take out a 10 out of it, or you go in a shop and you break 100 and say, well, hold 20. Is it a situation like that? Because that's the impression they're giving, that somebody comes and they hand you an envelope with $10,000 and a rubber band around it and say, go forth and do what you need to do for your constituency. So what is the situation? Is it that you get cash money in hand? How is that money paid?
So we are not given cash. We all have an account under Parliament in any bank, and every quarter, 3 months worth of that kind of allocation are deposited. So it's 10,000 per month, so that's 30,000 for the 3 months. So if you use all in one go, then the rest of the quarter gets unattended. But also there are guidelines as to what you can spend the money for and what you cannot spend it for. Although there is a certain amount of discretion that the MP can use in what the money is used for. And so checks have to be written out, and an explanation, a statement has to be given periodically to explain who this was given to. You have to give a name, you have to say what it was given for as a justification, and show how you've spent that money over the time. And sometimes persons do come for things that are way beyond our control. So even now, we find that there are persons who would not have received any assistance after the damage of, I know it's unbelievable, but after the damage of Hurricane Beryl, some parts in St. Mark got hit, some parts in St. Patrick, more than St. Mark, got hit. And a significant sum of money was allocated to take care of that problem, separate from what was allocated for Carriacou and Petite Martinique. And justice has not been done to any location or anywhere. So people come and they ask for windows that got smashed. They ask for assistance with the roof and so on. And there are some people who have been on waiting list for house repair, and that is a never-ending situation. So they come to, and they expect, because the ordinary man doesn't have $10,000 in his pocket, The low-income workers, middle income, at any one time, they don't have that. So when they hear $10,000, it sounds like a lot. But when you start disbursing for some things because somebody is getting wet, and they've been waiting more than a year now. Just now it will be 2 years since burial, and they no assistance in sight. And we all know that there was a statement made by the Prime Minister of this country when he said, "You don't get because we don't know who you are. We don't know what color you are." And so if they think somebody is a color that is not favorable to them, or if they know so, then these people are put in the back of the line, and the line, they never reach up to the front at all to get. And so sometimes we have to help alleviate this situation. But of course, you can't repair a whole house, because it means then that one person could get the $10,000 and still not get every need satisfied in terms of the house repair. So that is done. Then our elderly, our sick, who are not working, some never had seed, some had seed and it was taken away from them, and so you have a vulnerable group of persons who need assistance. A food hamper, maybe occasionally, maybe more frequently than that. In our office, we do a soup kitchen twice a week, every Tuesday, every Thursday, and we try to rotate it around. So we cover the whole constituency, but we can't do all in one day, so we kind of rotate it around. And there are some people, based on the extent of that need, we give them every time that we prepare. We give support to schools for the sports, for the either to assist with for example, one time I was asked to provide lunch for all of the persons, the officials, the teachers, the officials, and it does come up to quite a bit. Sometimes it's to help pay for the railings on the playing field, so that you separate the spectators from the athletes and so on. So we do assist schools in various ways like that.
And all that you're saying here is out of the same $10,000, eh?
Out of the $10,000.
So housing,
out of the same $10,000, and support for persons to enter learning institutions. So whether it's TAMCC, and let us not fool ourselves by the free education, because whatever it is and whatever is provided, if persons don't have access, like you can't pay the bus to get to canteen, for example, it is a big deterrent. So sometimes people come for assistance to help them pay the bus. So, I mean, you have to give a fair amount so that a good portion of the month is covered. The persons who go to St. George's University, I must say it's good to have a St. George's University here, because they do give Grenadians a significant discount, but you still have to pay, except you get a scholarship, of course. And so they come for assistance for that and for all kinds of things, and one has to discern how important it is, because all of those needs are important, but how important is one over the other? How great is the need? Can that person help themselves a bit more so that you can help somebody else? So all of that, but everything I've told you has to be signed and sealed to be delivered. The names of the persons and so on. So any background checks can be done to see whether that money has been utilized. So it is not usually a case of having cash in hand, but giving them a check. Medication, I missed that one, and so on. Doctors' fees, all kinds of things
People can't
come
buy their
under
eye
that.
drops. They
So,
can't get their
so,
high blood
so it is a
pressure
blessing,
meds.
but I tell you, it is a major challenge to make $10,000 a month work. And and these are small things, but some of them are big because persons have been waiting so long that it becomes very difficult for them. And so whatever can be done gets done.
So how was this? And I think that's the question that maybe on some folks' minds. You've mentioned quite a few things here that have to be addressed. These are not new things in a constituency. You have been rep for many years. You've had to deal with these things. How was that dealt with before the introduction of this $10,000 payment during the period of the new National Party?
So some of these things, for one, the house repair program that we had, it was more transparent, and it involved most people, more people than the program going, because if, I mean, there's a saying going around, if you're not yellow, don't bellow, don't ask for anything, you will not get it. And so some persons are automatically debarred from that house repair program. They're not going to tell you. They might even take your name, but your name will never come up to the top. That is one of the things. So the housing program is to be more broad-based and more all-encompassing. The other thing is that we had various programs and avenues through social services and so on, where some of these needs could have been taken care of. So if you take, for example, medication or surgical intervention or an x-ray, for example, persons who could not afford, you had a social worker at the hospital that they would go to and put their case to the social worker. And in short time, a little investigation into the person's needs would be done, and these people would get that support. That support is not, how shall I say it, is not as easy to get as it used to be in our time. As a matter of fact, persons over 60 didn't have to pay for things like x-rays and medication and so on. And children under 16, that is persons who could not afford, they had free access to medication. So some of the things that we find ourselves giving assistance with, those were taken care of through the government system, through the Ministry of Health or Ministry of Social Services, housing, whatever that is. So it has become, the need has become greater because some people are just immediately ostracized once they associate with a particular color. So whereas that should be used more for the fun things like the schools and so on, and maybe for back to school, we in our constituency, we teamed up with an organization and we were able to contribute some tablets for children in the school, because there was a program before, and you will recall that program came on during COVID to ensure that children had a device so that when they stayed at home, their learning did not cease, it continued. This was continued after June 2022 for a while, but I think when they woke up and they realized that they were helping poor people children, all of a sudden it stopped. It stopped. It was discontinued for the last 2 years. So we decided to use whatever funds we raised, and I used some of the parliamentary fund that is given, the 10,000, to assist to buy a few more of the tablets, and the cost for shipping and handling and all those kinds of things. That was done. So I say it is a blessing, and I'm happy still to have an avenue whereby I can help persons, but it really does not, it just stays at it doesn't reach the surface, it stays at the bottom of the glass.
But let me ask this question now. as the parliamentary rep, do you have access to the different government programs in the same way that, for instance, the senator that is in your constituency or a NDC MP has access to those government programs? Is it a case that you have direct access to a housing officer and you can say to the housing officer, as the MP for St. Mark, we need this done? Is it that you
No,
can...
we don't. I have had to write several letters to permanent secretaries, to ministers, to ask for support, where of course we cannot, we don't have access to. And most times, you get a yes and something is going to happen. But it doesn't work. We don't have that kind of access. And the housing officer, maybe, I don't know if it is my fault that I haven't really approached him, but persons have approached and they have been waiting for the past 3 years, going on 4 years. Some of them were on our list to be given housing materials. So you're talking 4 or 5 years of waiting, and that hasn't happened. So we don't have that kind of access. So the $10,000 is stretched to the limit, and of course, we can't do a serious house repair. There are some programs that some needs that we just cannot satisfy.
So it is not a situation, for instance, that you have access to the same as, and in your case, you don't have.
No.
It's not like you have two MPs in your constituency. You're the MP, and there is a caretaker of the NDC that is there that happens to be in the Senate at the same time. So that individual will have direct access to the government resources, while you only have the $10,000 and your own personal funds that you would end up having to use.
And we only have, and I don't know if they're making it as though it's only opposition. They too have it, eh?
Yeah.
And I have to talk a little bit on that, how this thing is spread for everybody, and to demonstrate that we are just unintended beneficiaries. Don't fool yourself. Sometimes it looks too glaring for one set to take and not give the other. So they give the others. It's not because, like, maybe the neighbor's child there in your house, or a child that you have in your home that's not your child, and you cook, and you have to give, the child has to, you can't find a decent way not to give the child. So you give the child, but your main aim is not to provide for the child. So that is what it, in other words, old people used to say, you take a clean sheet to cover dirty mattress. We are the clean sheet that sometimes when they cannot cover what they're taking or what they want for themselves, then they give us. And what they do is highlight what we get as though they are not getting. And I want to, I think I need to seek your permission to move into something that the Prime Minister said today.
And Dr. Morris, I am not sure what's happening here, but I think probably I signed into the wrong Zoom account because I realized this thing is telling me I have 9 minutes again. So we'll speak for a while,
so
but
what do we do?
I know we'll continue, but I may have to, I'm just letting you know, I may have to stop at a point and sign into the proper Zoom account and send back to you to get you back on. So we may have to take a short break. But you can go right ahead.
We'll do that. That's fine.
Yeah, just
so let me just start, because I know we have something interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
But everything is of interest to the nation, and our nation needs to be informed, because if we don't inform them of the reality of the situation, they can be misled. He spoke about they've treated us good by giving us the $5,000 per month. No, we used to get $1,000 when you're in opposition. The opposition got $1,000. I've lived through that. I don't know how I survived, but I survived. And they have brought it up to 5. But every parliamentarians. Every MP gets that $5,000. And every senator who is a junior minister in a ministry gets 3,500. They don't say that. Every one of them gets. And I recall when this was being discussed, they used the examples of ministers in other jurisdictions, in other countries. Look at what their salaries were, and look at what our salary in Grenada is, and them as MPs, as ministers and parliamentarians. And I also recall that in the conversation of having, so obviously we accepted it because 5,000 is better than one anyways. And I mean, everybody has needs just like everybody else. However, it was not meant for us. It was meant for as an additional source of funds for them, because on top of that, they increased their salaries as ministers. They kept their salaries as ministers. So when we ask, well, what are the ministers going to do? That is a separate thing, you know? So they calculated the $14,000 or the $15,000, putting in that 5, increasing what they used to get. So when they talk about us, they must talk about themselves. And the Prime Minister said, we must do our work. Then they must do 10 times the work that we're doing, because they're getting just about 10 times the money that we get. So let's be real about it. And we are doing our jobs. And I will talk to you to explain how we are doing our jobs by what we do in Parliament.
Mm-hmm. And we've also been hearing about the vehicles that they say they're providing to each of the constituencies and so on. What is the situation with that? We hear announcements being made, oh, we're going to give each constituency a vehicle. And I think people have in their minds that, for instance, Dr. Modest is going to get a new BMW. She will have a nice vehicle to drive about and so on. What is the situation with this vehicle they say they're providing to each constituency and so?
Well, I will talk very limitedly about that, because we have to get back to the clerk on that matter. But it's a pickup truck, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So, Doctor, I'm not saying I won't jump in a pickup truck and drive it, you know, but that is not my personal vehicle of choice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not for us. It's not for us personally to use. But that doesn't mean that I can't ride in it or drive in it. There's no regulation that says not, but it's supposed to do your whatever work you have. But I want to suggest that we leave that topic for another time, either with me or one of us MPs, because we are we are fine-tuning on that.
Great. All right. So, Doc, I want to take the break right now before we move on to the major substantive issue for tonight. I want to take a short break now so I can sort out this issue, because I seem to have signed into the wrong Zoom account, so it gives me a limited amount of time. So I want to sign into the right one, send back a link to you.
All right, so I'll sign off as well, and then we'll link up again?
Yes, indeed, okay. Doc. So we'll be right back with you.
On the other side.
Yes, ma'am. So, folks, I'm going to have to take a very short break. I don't know how I managed that one. I signed into the wrong Zoom account. So next thing I see the thing counting down, you have how much minutes remaining and so on. That is definitely the wrong account, because we have a paid account that we utilize for this program. So we're not supposed to be getting counted out and that kind of thing. No. That means on the wrong program. All right, nice. Yes. So let me just sort that out and get right back on with Dr. Modest. So let me just make one short adjustment here, and we'll be right back.
If you come here to hear all Black Stallion songs, you know you can't hear that in one night. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna sort of take out some of the most outstanding ones, and some of them that we sort of keep doing and we know that you would love. So tonight is a very special night. This one for you. for you especially something like about 10 years we didn't put it together. But since you remember this, help me. Better days are coming. Better days are coming. Children, stop your crying. Better days are coming. I don't want to hear that same song again. If I hear the same song, I might go insane. But anyhow, I don't look at it listening. That's how they say it, have a better day coming. But anyhow that I look around, I see for destruction, people committing crimes that what they escape.
Yeah, so I think I may have solved that problem. I think my Zoom probably got downgraded while we were not using it here. So I'll have to sort that out later on. But I think I should have everything sorted out here now. And we should have Dr. Modest back with us in a short while.
Box workers on strike, all workers don't food.
Yes, indeed. And we do have Dr. Modest back with us again. The lovely lady is on with us. So let me just move my ugly self there. Yes. Shall I move from there? Nice. Right. Nice. So we have Dr. Modest back with us. Thank you very much, Dr. Modest, for being back with us.
Yes, so we were talking about the boats that but in the interval while I was waiting, I saw a report, and they were saying that the Prime Minister said they're paying us to do our work.
Mm-hmm.
But the people of Grenada are paying them to do their work. And so they have to stay grounded. Not by remote control, stay grounded. The people of Grenada, that money is not theirs, is not our Prime Minister's money, Honorable Deacon Mitchell. It's the nation's money. And therefore, it's not to say we're paying you, so do your work. The people are also saying we're paying you. So stay around and see what's happening and do work so that you can deliver something like the Cliff project that is there, like something, and the Closure project just stopped without a word of notice to the people. Communicate with the people as part of your job, not an occasional podcast or an occasional interview. Your job, do your job. Apart from cabinet day, you go in the ministry, you go in the up in the ministerial complex. I don't know if they're still there, because I know some people moved down to
I think in Grenada or somewhere.
Other places. But other times you pass there and the car parks for the ministers, it's empty. So why? I mean, charity begins at home. He needs to say to his ministers, do your work. Go out there, help the people. A lot of people don't have roofs over their heads still from a hurricane, over 1 year ago. And when right from the get-go, there was money to do it. So tell them to go out and do their jobs. I don't know why we are the ones he's telling to do our jobs. We are doing our jobs. That's why we decided to protest, because we represent the people and a significant amount of people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And whether they choose to acknowledge it or not, we represent the people of Grenada, because some of the issues, a lot of the issues that we bring forward and we raise are issues that concern every one of us in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So we are doing our job. I think he needs to redirect his advice to his own ministers and his own cabinet, and to tell them to do their jobs.
Yes, indeed. So, and Dr. Modest, as we're speaking about that, the sitting before last, because today would have been the last sitting, would you say that the behavior displayed in that sitting of Parliament, that reflected respect for the institution of Parliament and respect for the Speaker himself, the what was being said in the Parliament and the actions of what took place at the Parliament sitting last week?
You see, let me just explain a little bit first that parliaments ought to operate on matters in a principled way. Now, we have seen people behave bad in other parliaments. We have seen punches, pelting, and so on. But this is not the expected norm. And we are guided by a document. It's a little book, but it deals with a lot of the things that we have to, our procedures and so on, and our conduct in Parliament. And of course, there are certain responsibilities for what we call the executive. That's the government, that's the cabinet who makes decisions for the country, and quite rightly so. And so most of the bills, and up till now, since they have been in office, and what usually obtains is that the bills are prepared by the ministry, the legal department, and then it's passed on to the cabinet. And bills do not come to cabinet, to Parliament, unless they are approved in cabinet. So they do have a preview of the bills that come to cabinet, and then they send it and they recommend the dates and so on. And we have an understanding, because this book, and I have it close by, the House of Representatives Standing Orders. These were put by persons, officials of long ago, but it is in keeping with our Constitution. So when certain questions are asked by the Speaker, so for example, if we adjourn and who say yea and who say nay, or the ayes, or the, whatever, he is obligated to do so by the guidelines of the standing order. They're not doing us a favor. Now, of course, usually they would outnumber us, because of course they have the numbers. That's why they're in government. But they are still obligated to consult with us on certain things, and sometimes to give consideration to what we say, because we are just as important to them in Parliament, because we were all put there by the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. So it's not a favor to give us our notice and to give us our documents in a specified time, 7 days notice. It's not a favor. It's listed here. So I heard something being said like, and we decided to adjourn the meeting to facilitate the opposition, but they too didn't get the official copy either. None of them got it, and that is why it came. When it was sent out to us. And I want to just explain a little sequence here. When on the 16th we received the memo from the clerk that Parliament was going to have a sitting for the 24th of October, that is all we received, a notice saying that. And then on the 17th, we received what they call the other paper. Is a paper that tells you what the items are going to be in the sequence outlined by that same little booklet I told you about, the standing orders of the Parliament. And of course, under certain headings, they'll tell you what comes under the headings, if it's a motion, if it's a bill, whatever it is, and so on. So when that one came on the 17th, and I need to clarify that, because there seemed to be a misunderstanding that we got the papers since the 17th for the 24th. If you get a notice there'd be a sitting and you don't get papers, then you're powerless to do anything to prepare and to do the nation's work. And that is what we want to do. What he's admonishing us to do and what they should be doing, that is what we're doing and we want to do. That's why we're doing what we're doing. So we received the order paper with one bill. That was the Eastern Caribbean Citizenship by Investment Regulatory Authority bill. That was the only bill on the 17th. And on the 21st, we received a notice that that sitting was rescheduled. So it's not like they gave us, and they said it was because of air conditioning problems. But it was moved to the 28th, and we still had air conditioning problems. So if it was necessary to go on the 24th, they could have gone on the 24th. So we ask ourselves why. And during that period, a pile of documents came. But some came within the time, and we were prepared to go. But then later on, we start getting notice of amended order paper, notice of this, and we get an amended order paper which listed what was going to come, but we didn't get the documents. And therefore, we have an agreement on both sides that was agreed to in Parliament, that we would communicate, both sides would communicate on certain things that could affect, especially us in the opposition, but it could affect government, any change that government wanted to do as well, that within Parliament that they thought necessary to raise, they could raise it as well. And so I was selected, the humble sovereign, to represent the opposition, and the leader of government business, who is Honorable Philip Telesford, he was selected to, well, of course, he's already leader of government business, but he was selected to be the go-between for both sides. And so that would have included the dates and so on. Suffice it to say, it has not worked well. It has not worked well. And so sometimes if you ask for a date, then you can't, if you suggest a date, because the day that is proposed is inconvenient, then you might hear, well, so-and-so is traveling, so you can't do that, so so-and-so. So the Parliament has now been downgraded to be subservient to the government, their convenience. And if you're talking about you can't have a sitting on such and such a date because somebody is absent, you know the frequency with which that could happen. And so also remember, we haven't had a sitting, prior to that, we haven't had a sitting for a long time. We had been given a schedule because when there were serious concerns about how we were operating in terms of the dates and the times, etc., we were given a schedule of sittings, which worked out to approximately once per month, that is sittings. But of course, they were the ones who broke it. So they're talking, we're not doing our work. They're not doing their work too, because you give a schedule for a sitting, so you could plan ahead of time when you go, where you go. Although, of course, we well understand that ministers would have more commitments abroad than we would have, because there are all kinds of meetings, whether it's regional or international. So we understand that, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't travel, but I'm saying that if they stay on the ground a little more, travel a little less, they could get more work done. So it was, after a while, it became very confusing. And so when on the Friday before the Tuesday, which was the 28th of October, we didn't see any papers to support. And that didn't give us 7 days to peruse the documents, to study them, and to be able to make meaningful contributions to the discussions. I called my counterpart on the other side, Honorable Philip Telesford, and I, to raise that concern with him that we still hadn't received the papers. We weren't able to speak. He messaged me and we weren't able to speak, so it didn't work out. And then over the weekend, I tried to communicate again until I finally got him on Monday morning and explained our concern. And the matter was investigated, and we saw where it went wrong and whatever and whatever. And so certain decisions were made to see how we could rectify that in the first instance, and also to postpone Parliament, cancel whatever, cancel Parliament. So it wasn't a favor being done. It is something that is in this little booklet here that we are guided by, which this document is guided by the Constitution of Grenada. It is not a favor. So I just wanted to make that very clear. So it seems as though there was a threat that we would not be given consideration. Well, I guess they don't want us in Parliament. Why should they want us? Because we sometimes expose them, so they don't want us there. But it's not a favor they're doing us. So I wanted to deal with that. Now, I don't know if you want me to segue into the issue, because you did ask me about it.
Go right ahead, yeah.
I was just talking here about the principles of Parliament, that it is not subservient to any one person, and to certainly not the Prime Minister, because we are all supposed to have the same rights. But in instances where a vote has to be taken, they outnumber us. So obviously, the vote will be in their favor. And sometimes it may be in our favor, sometimes it may not be, but the vote is in their favor. But we are all supposed to be treated with equal regard and respect. So now, whatever happened there, and I want to just raise one more thing about that cancellation of Parliament. Honorable Peter David wanted to speak on a matter which he thought would go under one of the headings. The first heading that he asked to do it under, the speaker said, no, you cannot do it there. Maybe you should speak about it on the adjournment. And, discussion ensued, but finally he agreed not to do it there. But when it was time for the adjournment, he was again told that he could not do it there. No, the adjournment is the last thing. So if you can't do it on the adjournment, then obviously you can't do it in that meet, in that whatever we call it, whether it was a sitting. And I just want to note here in our document that on page 10, it speaks to adjournment. And it says, on a motion for the adjournment of the House, any member may rise and speak on any matter of public importance up to a limit of 10 minutes. And that was denied to that MP. I don't know whether he accepted it or how he reacted, but we do know that that was not correct, because any member, and that's what gives us that level of equality in the House of Parliament. So I wanted to mention that. So moving into that sitting that we had, a number of things went wrong. It's because if our guiding booklet tells us that the documents must be given 7 days before the sitting, and we realized that it did not go, it was not sent out 7 days before, then all we had to do was to postpone the sitting for another time. But the amount of ups and downs, the amount of discussions, the amount of, chaos that went on, it just shows that this is a very disorganized government, who they're not clear on what their role is. And then when the date was given, if my memory serves me right, the leader of government business, that is Honorable Telesford, asked for an adjournment since we could not proceed with the meeting, with the sitting, and then I stand corrected, but the date was given. I don't want to call a name because I could be wrong, but the date was given as today's day, as the 3rd or the 4th
Fourth
of
of, yeah. Mhm.
4th of November. And then I recall Honorable Emmeline Pierce saying, well, you know, she had concerns of, a unilateral decision because after that was suggested, then the speaker said, okay, so we're adjourning to resume on the 4th of November. And Honorable Emmeline Pierre, our political leader, said, well, we're not given a chance to make any contribution here in terms of the date. And at that time, we well knew that Honorable Kate Lewis would be out of the island, and she scheduled her time to be out of the island so that she would not miss the sitting. And then the speaker, he did ask her if she had another date in mind, and she said, well, she couldn't give a date just off her head like that. Now, to my mind, there were two options there. Either and we've done it before, we've taken a break, 5 minutes, 10 minutes break, get together, both sides, persons from both sides, discuss, and come back with a solution or an answer for the speaker. Or he could have adjourned Parliament and said, let both sides have a discussion outside of Parliament and get back to him soonest, because the documents, it's been a period of time that we've had this back and forth. But instead of that, because she couldn't give it immediate, because sometimes you have to check your schedule, you have to check whatever you have, and you might need just a few minutes, or you might need a day, and that should have been allowable in Parliament. Why it wasn't, I don't know. But that was gross disrespect for the opposition. And therefore, after considering all of these things, we sat and we looked at the growing disrespect, the accumulation of infractions, contrary to the guidance of the standing orders that were constantly being, seen in the Parliament, and the disregard, the disrespect that was being shown. We just thought that we needed to take a stand in the interest of the nation and the people who put us there. Otherwise, we'll be setting a very bad example in the country, and that would be intolerable. And so we had several discussions on the matter, and we finally decided, let's have a sit out today, and let us make a statement that we are unhappy with the level of chaos that we see, the apparent unraveling of the Parliament, and the gross disrespect, and to call for something better. All we're doing is calling for what is rightfully ours as members of the opposition, calling for the respect that the Parliament deserves, and by extension, the people of Grenada and Carriacou and Petit Martinique. That's all we're asking for. So if you have any questions, if there is something that you would like me to speak on, I'll be happy to do.
As the mother of the house, have you ever seen a situation where you have a speaker being scolded by the Prime Minister in the way that you have seen? And you've been in Parliament through other Prime Ministers as well. Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, you were in Parliament with Mr. Tillman Thomas as Prime Minister. Have you ever seen a situation like that? The Speaker of the House basically getting a tongue lashing from the sitting Prime Minister. You're the mother of the house. You've been there for a while. Have you ever seen anything like this?
I did. I listened to the Prime Minister of this country, respectfully, and he said what he did was not a tongue lashing. So you call it that, and I would call it that, but the Prime Minister didn't think so, and perhaps the Speaker himself didn't think so. However, the Prime Minister at that time was out of line. He should have left the decision making to the Speaker of the House, because the Speaker of the House has that prerogative. He is the one, whenever there is a matter to be settled, he's the arbiter. And his decisions have to be respected. And if one is in disagreement, there are respectful ways to do it. But I do not see what happened there to be respectful. But if he accepts it, that is for him to do. But we are not prepared to accept that constant disrespect. And I think the Prime Minister, the leader of government business, and all the ministers, they need to internalize and look at the example we're setting for the young people. They say they are youths, but I don't see the respect for youths among them. If you're going to demonstrate that kind of behavior in the highest institution in the country, higher than cabinet, and if you're setting that example, then sometimes we wonder why young people behave in certain ways, and it is something that says to us that at that level, our conduct has to be better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As you've said, we've seen several parliaments, and we know sometime in parliament kick and cough and thing does pass. While we don't have that in Grenada's
we've
parliament,
never had that,
and we will never have that.
And we have had very, very,
heated debates.
Very competent, very competent. I want to choose my words very carefully. And speakers, and who have, all of them did not start at the same level. Mm-hmm. But I even hesitate to talk about Sir Kurt Strong, because he is the example of a speaker. He is just, he was just an excellent speaker, very knowledgeable. As a matter of fact, the manual, a guideline to new parliamentarians, he was either the only author or the chief author of that thing. And
I still have my copy.
Maybe what we need to do is to just learn, avail ourselves to learning, all of us, and seek to set a higher standard rather than try to knock people down, and to criticize and to castigate and to seem to want to get on top. I'm the boss, and but sometimes humility does what a lot of arrogance cannot do. And I wouldn't like to see the kick and punch happen in Grenada, but also the kinds of words and the choice of words and how it is done and how things are done, it has to improve. And the respect and the observance of the guidelines and the regulations that are formulated from our very constitutions. Our constitution needs to be observed. Mm-hmm. And that is what we're saying, that is what we're asking. We're not afraid to go to Parliament, but we are afraid that if we just accept the misconduct and the misbehavior, that it would soon become a norm. And we felt that this is the time to say that it stops here with us. We can't force them to do what they don't want to do. Still, the Speaker is in charge, and the Speaker has to control the Parliament. But at the same time, we have to take a stand, and this is what we have done. And even regardless to what they say, they know that they were wrong. They know that they were wrong. The tapes are there. They can go back and play it and see. The Prime Minister can go back and play the tapes and see how he spoke to the Speaker, and to see whether it was correct. The Speaker can go back and look to see how he just tacitly ignored the request of the leader of the opposition. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. And let's just fix it and be adults in this matter.
Indeed, because pretty soon we have the budget debate is going to be coming up, the budget presentation, and then the budget debate. Some long days and some long evenings into the night possibly coming up for you all. And you don't want to have these sorts of situations popping up during a very important time. I mean, all parliament sittings are very important. All are extremely important.
Very true.
But there is some more level of focus on the budget debate. You're coming to the end of the year, and people are able to give a report on their individual ministries or constituencies, etc. So you don't want to get into going into budget debate and that sort of thing. You have to set it straight now. What you are doing is wrong. You need to correct it.
Let's fix it.
Let's
fix it as adults, as people who have been put there by our people, and our people are looking on, and we can fool some of the people some of the time, and we can put nice glossy words, but the reality is, if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you erred, and you have to be man enough or woman enough to fix it. So that's all there is. Put some more order. So now there are some recommendations that have been made as to how we're going to get our papers, our documents.
Mm-hmm.
We will go along with it. We have no problem with that. But that alone will not fix it. There has to be goodwill. There has to be a willingness to want to work to achieve something for the nation and to demonstrate that we are deserving of sitting in the parliament. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens, and we'll be there. We have not abandoned parliament. We have just taken the time off to see. Let us fix this so that we can move on in a proper manner.
Indeed. And my Zoom problem has popped up again. Doc, it's a situation where I've not used Zoom for a while, and my yearly subscription ran out. So I have to fix that at the end of the program and sort out my subscription for Zoom. So we still have quite a while remaining. Now, this is the situation in our parliament, but is it really a reflection of something in the larger community, in our politics in Grenada right now? The lack of respect for institutions on a whole. So the lack of respect for the parliament, so that the prime minister could feel, I could speak to the speaker of the house anyway, and we could ignore the standing orders, because even today, from what I'm hearing, there was an amendment. I didn't get to see today's parliament sitting, but I'm hearing that there was an amendment to the order of what was taking place today. So ministerial statements, etc., which were really supposed to have come at the last sitting, were allowed to come at this sitting, and all sorts of weird things happening. One of the rules are that you, at the first sitting after the throne speech, you're supposed to set up your committees, and again you just realize it was not done, and there was no excuse as to why it could not have been done, but it was not done. And then you have people throwing words in relation to that. And so many other areas, so many other institutions in our country, we recognize that there seems to be a lack of respect by this present administration regarding our institutions in general, be it the police force, be it the way that work is done in a particular ministry, and how you go through to ensure that there's a paper trail in the ministry. Well, these days it's a digital trail, but whatever within a ministry. Is it what happened in Parliament just an example of what is taking place generally in our country at this time?
Well, as you were speaking, what jumps to me, and I hope that fits into what you're asking there, is when Hurricane Beryl was on its way, it showed very obvious signs that it was going to pass in our part of the Caribbean. And the Prime Minister of the country was then missing in action, and he was in Barbados, I think, enjoying a cricket match. And when he came back, and I remember that night, we all waited because we wanted to hear what he had to say. There was a press conference that was set up for when he came back. And I remember at that time, don't remember what time of day, they kept putting back the time when that press conference would start and so on, until eventually that press conference did take place. And I remember one of the questions that were asked to him of him was that, people were waiting to hear from you, and the time given had to be, pushed back and pushed back. What do you have to say to the people now? And you know what his answer was? I don't know if you recall. He said nothing. He said that he had nothing to say. And I saw that as the height of disrespect and disregard and arrogance for the same people who put you there. You already took a little time, and you play a game, and maybe you thought the hurricane would not have hit. I don't know what. I can't figure it out, so let me not try to. But he said he has nothing to say. And even the press conference, it was our practice to have weekly press conferences. They don't have to do that. They can have their own format. They have a right to make the decisions as to when. But they started, and then they decided that it would be on a need to know basis. So all of a sudden, the nation's business has become top secret at the convenience of a chosen few. And even take for example, the situation with the road in Clogie. I understand that the road has been, I heard recently that the road was closed, that work, the work people had done tools and what. And I thought that had happened a few days ago, only to learn that this road was closed off more than a month, maybe 2 months, without telling the people anything, without having a meeting or sending out a notice. But somebody travels and they go and they meet somebody and they meet other people. They're not more important than Grenadians. They're not more important than the people of St. John. And we see all photos, all kinds of things, all statements, all press releases. And an important roadway, motorway, whatever you want to call it, that has been of some measure of distress, I would say great distress, to the people in the area. And perhaps they were living in the hope that with the work going on, something would happen soon. And the work is closed down. And when December is coming, work wouldn't open again for 2025. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't open before budget is read. And all of the necessary protocols and procedures are followed for it to start spending. So, Clogie people could say goodbye to a road work for the longest while. And a number of things that are not explained to the people. The Cliff Road, I don't know if it's finished fixing now. Last time I passed that area, I still had to do the long detour. And no explanation, cost overruns, and all of these things, they don't owe the nation any explanation. So everything is in disarray. Things are happening, and you are not told. You just hear things by the way, and sometimes they happen in a very unorthodox manner, and a manner that doesn't bring positive outcomes. But nothing is done to change it, and I term that gross disrespect for the nation, for the people, and I to some extent disrespect for themselves. The Prime Minister is the Minister for Infrastructure, and so all of these things fall squarely. A lot of these things fall squarely in his lap, and he just refuses to consult with the people or to let them know, even if it's a written message or an audio or something that lets them know what's happening, but nothing. And that seems to be the order of the day.
Indeed.
And I so many things we used to have and we don't have, and we're not hearing anything as to why. I think that is the demonstration of disrespect that I could think about just off my head, with catastrophic things happening. Even we're now in November, and as of January, our fisher folk may not be able to export fish to the US, and we're not hearing anything. If there's any progress, if people are negotiating, if they've traveled to the States, if people have come down. And well, let's not talk about what the matter with the agreement with the US. The nation has not been told anything. I don't know if anything has been said and I missed it, but I haven't heard anything.
I think a statement.
Conclusive.
I think a statement was made in Parliament today, but again, I didn't get to listen to today's Parliament sitting, so on the way. But Dr. Modest, once again, the Zoom.
But an announcement was made that a statement would be made in the sitting, and nothing was said until perhaps today.
Yes,
so that's where we are. We are all on tenterhooks, keeping our fingers and our toes crossed. And so it's a time of great anxiety. Psychiatrists and psychologists and everybody else, counselors must be working overtime at this time.
Dr. Modest, once again, my Zoom is about to cut off on me. I'm not sure at what point it will cut off, but if it cuts off, then I still have to call you back again. And yes, there it goes. It's cut off again. And I will have to definitely, folks, what has happened here is that I have a year plan. And because I was not using Zoom for the past couple weeks, it went off without me realizing it. So I came on tonight and it's downgraded me to the one that only gives 40 minutes. So I'll have to reactivate that tomorrow sometime after the program. I'll have to sort that part out. So let me just get Dr. Modest back here. So once again, I'll have to take a short break and be right back. And I do humbly apologize. Totally my fault. And we apologize to Dr. Modest as well. So let me just sort this out and come right back once again. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't pay attention to the to the Zoom. The Zoom just keep cutting off on me there now. And let me see. Yes. Right, nice. I think I have one there. Nice, yeah.
Grenada is a paradise. No economic condition can cause our demise. Pork, no beef. Pork, no beef. We holding straight. We feeling pain. It's all in the game. We don't have no shame. Same old, same old. Same old, same old. Same old, same old. Same old, same old. A poor but a polite. 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 Pork, no beef. Pork, no beef. When better can come, let us continue.
Yes, folks. What I've decided to do, Dr. Modest, you're on with us. Hello.
Yes.
Yes. The Zoom has been giving problems, so I just decided to go to the phone line instead and call you. My Zoom has been downgraded because I wasn't using it. So yes,
That's
indeed.
all right, yeah.
And we was just speaking about the state in the country. You're a former Minister of Works. You were Minister of Works. I'm trying to remember when. But I know that you were Minister of Works for a period of time, and now we're seeing several of those projects, and they seem to be stalled.
A very interesting time in somewhere around 2004. When
Ivan.
a number of great things happened. The Kushi Port project, the bus terminal. That happened at that time. I can't give you the number of major schools that were done and the roads just off my head, but I remember these two big projects, major projects with land reclamation and so on, was done in my time. And of course, the recovery after Hurricane Ivan. Never forget those days after the passing of the hurricane, when we had teams of the technical people from water, from electricity, and just about everything, meeting every day, looking at how we could fix back our country, and we did. So it would be good to relieve one of those days, the amount of infrastructural work that was done, not just with me as Minister for Infrastructure, but under the new National Party as a whole, to the point where they were saying that we were a concrete government. It's amazing, you know. Person said we were a concrete government, and one person in more recent time said, you know, yes, roads building, but people can't eat roads. And maybe it was a foreshadowing of what is has taken place now, because they can't even boast that roads are building, because at one time there was a lot of boast about roads, but partway through the roads construction, I don't know many roads that they have completed. I mean, serious roads. They might have done a few footpaths that go from start to finish, but I do you know of any road that has been completed
The thing
in
is,
the last 3 years, last 4 years,
but
started and completed?
but Dr. Modest, you see, the thing is, during the period of the new National Party, roads were not measured in feet. Roads were measured in miles. During your period of time, roads were measured in miles. During the period of time of Mrs. Brenda Hood, it was measured in miles. During the time of Mr. Gregory Bowen, it was measured
Mr.
in
Gregory
miles.
Bowen, but don't
So
talk about
we don't measure roads in feet. I mean, only if we're speaking of the happy feet that are walking alongside them, but we don't speak of roads in feet. We speak of roads in miles. And from the East Coast Road, the West Coast Road, you have all of these different roads that were done. But under the NDC administration, I cannot point to any particular road, any major road, and say that this was started or conceptualized and done during the period of the NDC. Maybe there are, but I don't know of any.
Well, it's something that we it's something that I think we need to talk about, Sheldon. We need to talk about what's happening now, or more appropriately, what's not happening. But we also need to talk about what has happened. You know, that highway, the highway to the airport, Maurice Bishop Highway, and so on. All of these important infrastructural works done. I did mention schools. I did mention resource centers. No, I didn't mention the resource centers, daycare, and all of these things were done simultaneously, so that in every constituency, in every village, people could do what we normally call eat a food, because apart from the bushing and thing, yeah, we ain't talk about that yet, but that's for another time. That's for another time.
We could take a piece of it tonight too, but we could talk about it in a while.
No, but it's just that the economy has slowed down so drastically when the cost of living is escalating, and so there's a bigger rift between your income now and your expenditure, because at least people used to try and pay the little arrears for the water and for the thing when they get the 6-7 fortnights of work. Now you have just about maybe 3 fortnights, because the first one just finished, and so you get, or maybe hasn't finished yet, but you could only get 2 fortnights in the month in November, and it started in November, and in December you get 1, because the Christmas fortnight, the second half, the second fortnight in the month that is taken up by Christmas. So, it'd be interesting to see how Christmas unfolds, but I don't think we would be surprised that the level of activities would be significantly decreased. But little things, the footpaths and the roads and the small projects we used to do, and maybe we could have brought it up a little more because there were 15,000 projects, but now the government has brought it up to 100,000 projects that they can pay they can how say
They can
give
get
a
a
contract
contract of up to
give a
that volume.
contract to someone to the value of 100,000 without bidding. So in other words, you hand it to somebody, one of you, the people, as you say, he had to know his people and take care of his people. So Grenadians all are not paying taxes, and Grenadians all are not eligible for consideration as well. Not all Grenadians are eligible for consideration for some of these goodies that are going around. So some people living very well in this country, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some people are living very well, but quite a lot are smelling healthy.
No, we've
So
seen that situation, because even prior to the reopening of school, when usually you may have had a debushing taking place, so people get the little something in their hands that they able to help them to sort out the children back to school with whatever assistance they got. You realize that was I'm not even sure if you could really call that taking place. So many people who otherwise depended on this as a little assistance to get things done, to have a nice little Christmas, you enter the new year so differently, or to be able to send the children to school, they are being left by the wayside.
that's right. That's right. And while September is the major time for back to school, January is still another semester, another term, and especially when you're dealing with children, some of them grow so fast. The shoe you bought in September can't feed them in January. And sometimes the shoe and the pants too, you know. So it is going to be a difficult time, but as we say, our people are resilient, but they must not be challenged unnecessarily. And I don't know if this is a test to see how far you can make life difficult for people and they can still continue to smile and do what they have to do, and they can continue to live. But I think they should take a little example from our plate. And now is not a time to put back the tax on the electricity bill. Now is not a time for that, when everything is rising, and the government is the biggest shareholder in Glen Lake. You want to tell me that the government doesn't have the right to say let's leave it still? Because you say Glen Lake is making money. So if they're making money, then if they make a little less and people live a little better, you can ease the burden and let them breathe a little easier. Is there something wrong with that? So the small shareholders, yes, they are important and they must be consulted. But if it was convenient, their names would never have been called. Whatever decisions had to be taken would have been taken regardless.
Yes. So we see these situations. Again, we started speaking about those situations that the average Grenadian are finding themselves in right now. And we know the people of St. Mark are no different, who are facing all of these challenges. As we head into the 2026 budget, yes, I ain't making a mistake, people. It reading in 2025, but it's the 2026 budget. As we head into the 2026 budget, are you seeing moves by the government presently to address some of the problems that Grenadians are facing. People who are telling you that, look, they used to pay $200 in relation to electricity, and now they find themselves with bills of over $400. People who are telling you they used to pay $350 and now they're paying as much as $700, and so on. Are you seeing any moves being made by government at this time to address these issues?
Well, if they do make moves like that, and they're very good on their PR, they would have told us. So I wouldn't have to, make any efforts to see. They would have told us, number one. So I haven't heard anything in that regard. But what I see is a lot of cosmetic things to blind people eye. So you have some steel band extravaganza in this constituency. You have a steel band extravaganza here. You have that, and this is the month of youth. So a lot of things going to pour out for the month of youth. A lot of activities are going to take place. But the glitter and the glamour is like the lights that they had put on the Carriacou, cost millions of dollars. And then you have to take it down shortly after, because you realize that trucks can't pass, and carnival is a problem, and all kinds of things like that. So the brilliant lights that they put up, shortly afterwards, it had to be put down. So millions of dollars for temporary glitter, and then no substance behind it. So a lot of things are going to unfold in this month, and in December, look out. All kind of things going to be invented, all kind of events, so that young people will run to it, and it will mask the real problems that they are undergoing in this country, the challenges that they face, the lack of support for young people, the lack of programs that could take them further, the number of Imanis who were promised that they would get permanent, instead they have been sent home, and very quietly a number are going, because persons I know who used to be in the Imani, you meet them on the road and say, what's going on, things going with you, and think, well, are they home now? Very quietly they just throw them aside as persons with no value, as people who are not Grenadians, as though they're aliens, and that's it. And so they have to make up in some way. They're very good at that. I wish the kind of glitter they just put out, they used to put that effort to do roads, to fix schools. So I think now I hear they say they're going to give some schools, they have to choose some schools to give tablets, or I don't know, some devices, some kind of devices. They have to go and give, and they're going to select the schools and what have you and what have you. That kind of thing you're going to see. These short-term things to give people a false sense of being taken care of, a false sense of security, but really and truly they are just there to fool people and to create more stumbling blocks for people, rather than look at the real problems that affect people in this society, how they pay their bills, how they take care of their children, how we're going to put a little breaks. At one time they said, people said that the Prime Minister could regulate the price of the oil, the petrol, and
gasoline,
the gasoline, so on. And because when at one time when he just came in, it was a little bit on a low, but they kick off the cap. So now we paying the full on everything, and fuel. Now we paying full on everything, and so it is not easy. It is not easy for people, and it's not going to get easier. I look forward to hear what measures they're going to put in the budget, but I'm not hopeful.
Indeed. And for folks who may be wondering, budget days, I think the 3rd of December or somewhere abouts there. It's early in December. I remember it's in the first week of December. Budget day is supposed to be. You're also, as a parliamentarian, you mentioned earlier in passing the issue of not being able to send fish to the United States. Yourself as well as myself, we know very well what this means to people like, for instance, the people of Petit Martinique, who already went through Beryl last year, and the incompetence for this year and last year, and now they have to go through the fact that the major industry in Petit Martinique could crumble if they don't find alternative means to get their fish to the United States, because once it's coming out from Grenada, it will not be able to enter the United States. Have you seen any legislation, any moves by the government to address this issue? Have you heard of anything as a parliamentarian? Fishermen came to you and said, well, government is doing A or B, anything at all? Or is it just that 1st of January, that's it, Grenada can't send fish?
Well, I haven't heard anything officially. I know they've met with the fishermen, but those who went to the meeting couldn't come up very hopeful to say, well, look, that is happening aggressively or so. And so and these are some measures that I'm told are simple to implement, and also a lot of it has to do with reporting, because there are some requirements that are made that do not fall into the Grenadian situation with how we do the long line and so. And I don't know all the technical details, but they say the kind of manner in which we fish, Grenada specializes in long line. Some of the requirements do not apply to us, but of course that has to be demonstrated, that has to be documented, and the information has to be passed on to the relevant authority in the United States, and that has not been done. So we still have some time, and I really hope and pray that these things will be done in the right time to give us that kind of leeway. Because yes, you mentioned Petit Martinique. That is maybe one of the greatest aspect of their livelihoods in Carriacou. But a lot of the fishing villages on the mainland, you take like St. John, St. Andrew, Grenville, they do a lot of fishing there. St. Mark is a big contender there. You know, we're small, but I mean, I'm really proud of the fishermen here, and how quite a few of them are young people, you know, and good to see that they have taken up this trade, which is such a worthwhile trade. And so everybody is kind of worried and holding their breath, and this is something that we should have constant updates on, as to where we're going, who is talking to who, and how does it look at this time. And we have heard nothing. And I want to contrast a little bit, and that's perhaps the last thing I'm going to say tonight, with what happened quite some years ago, a kind of similar situation, and that had to do with the European Union and our ability to export fish to the European Union and also to the United States, because the European approval was accepted by the United States. When the European Union would scrutinize, once you passed their requirements, then the United States would approve you as well. And a lot of it had to do with the quality of the water, whatever minerals, whatever they didn't want in the water, and so on. That NAWASA had to take some measures to eliminate them or include what they wanted included in the water, so that it would improve the quality of the fish and keep it healthy. So that was one of the things. And the other thing was the structure of the fish market. The structure of the fish market, so that it followed what they call HACCP standards, and that would be the health requirements, so that the fish is sanitary, how you bring them in, how you handle them within the fish market, and how you remove them from the fish market, and all of those things, and the ice, and all of those standards. And we were behind at one time, and when we realized that how important this was, and that we could lose those markets that were so important to the fishermen, we stepped up. So it's not if you fail, it's not if you fall, but it's how you get back up and take up your responsibility and do what you have to do in the time that you have to do it so you can save the day. And I cannot say they're not doing it. Perhaps they're doing it in top secret, as some things that are pertinent to Grenadians are done. But I just hope that something will be done within the next month and some 2 months, maybe not quite 2 months, but near 2 months, so that fishermen can be smiling.
And if my memory serves me correct, you sat for some time in the seat of Minister of Foreign Affairs as well.
Yeah, but at the time when we addressed the fish thing, I was Minister for Health,
Mm-hmm.
and health had to ensure that the requirements that the EU put, that were health requirements, and all of them, they have substandards, has to do with proper handling, so that the fish is good quality, healthy quality, and so on. And so we had to work with NAWASA, we had to work with the Ministry of Fisheries, and so on. And I must say, everybody just chipped in and did what they had to do, and we were able to do that, and report back. And the European people sent persons here to observe very quietly, very quietly. Sometimes they would come and we wouldn't even know that they were here, but they went around the island looking and so on, and they were happy with the changes that we made, and so we were able, as I said, to save the situation. So let's see what happens at this time. And I don't get the impression that it's a top priority, but I understand that we export in excess of 40 million annually, and that is significant for our fishermen. So and not just the fishermen, the other people who are involved in the industry, the people who sell, those who fish on the shores, like the jacks and so on, for the bait and all of those things. Those
And the exporters, the main exporters who buy from the individual boats themselves.
That's correct.
And they just do the exporting part of it.
And as you talk about export, now when Amerijet comes, fish forms a huge part of the cargo that they take. And so some of the other vegetables and things, they just use up that space with these things. But the primary thing, as far as I understand, is the fish. So if there isn't any fish and there isn't enough cargo for Amerijet, they would bypass us,
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only the fishing industry that would be affected, but agriculture as a whole, and agricultural products and other things that do come with Amerijet could have significant.
So next thing we know, we lose our source up market as well.
Could be all of that too. So I'm just hoping that I would expect they are aware of the magnitude of the problem, and I just hope that they respond to it with the required diligence, and the required speed that they need to, so that we can, save that situation. And all of the people whose livelihoods depend on that would be able to breathe easier and to meet the high cost of living, because it's solely on your income. You have to depend now, and not on the kind of easement that our dear beloved government can put in place.
Indeed. And folks, we've been speaking here with Dr. Modest, yes, Dr. Clarice Modest, the Member of Parliament for St. Mark. Yeah, and somebody tell me I'll fix that, don't worry. But St. Mark. And we've been speaking about quite a few issues. I had to switch from Zoom to phone, but Dr. Modest is always there with us. Once we make a call, Dr. Modest is always willing to come on with us. Look, we had a whole discussion, and Dr. Modest, you know what is the strangest thing tonight? we did not discuss the issue of health. So we had to leave that for another night. We ain't touching that one because that one is our whole program.
And Screaming Live, we're going to be talking some of it tomorrow night at Wob.
Yes,
at
indeed.
Grand Roy. I think it's
Yes, Grand Roy.
Grand Roy Junction. It's Grand Roy, but I think it's in the junction.
Yeah.
I raised that because they had said the school, and we did discuss having an alternative, because when you have a bit of rain, and then it becomes very iffy. Is the meeting on? Is the meeting not on? But if you have a large building, it gives you a viable alternative, so that you don't have to cancel or postpone. You can just go right ahead and do what has to be done. So thank you so much. I don't think I greeted your listenership, to all of those persons who are online with Mr. Sheldon Scott, and the faithful listeners at home and abroad. Good night to you all, Grenadians. We love you. We love our country, and we just want to see good things happen for everybody and not just for a few. Have a good night, everybody. May God bless all of you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so very much, Dr. Modest. We'll be speaking again soon.
Okay. Looking forward.
Great.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Yes, indeed, folks. We were speaking with Dr. Clarice Modest there, and we had quite a wide-ranging conversation. And imagine we didn't speak about health. Usually when we speak to Dr. Modest, the majority of our conversation is in relation to health. So you got some information there in relation to various things. One, you heard the procedure in relation to the $10,000. And remember, while the New National Party MPs receive the $10,000, so do the government MPs. This isn't just given to the NNP MPs. And again, it is not given to the NNP MPs as in they have it cash in hand and they could take it and just hand you a 20 or so. No. There's a procedure. You make a request. That request is then considered, and once that request is approved, then it is paid via a check. And that checkbook is provided, from what I am understanding, through the Parliament, through an account that is set up by the Parliament. And therefore, when you write a check, you have to write on the stub who it is that check is going to, what that is for, and so on. And you keep an account of how much you have in your account and that sort of thing at that point in time. So there is a procedure in relation to this. But remember, while you may go to Dr. Modest and say, well, Dr. Modest, I need a window. I'm building my place and I need a window. The government, their MPs, even those who did not win their seats but are senators, etc., they have access to the largest of government. They have access to the ministries to do things that the New National Party MPs will not be able to do. So while the $10,000 is helpful, it is not able to cover, because I worked it out the last time, and I think it worked out in some instances as considering the number of voters and not the full amount of people in the constituency, just the registered voters. It worked out to somewhere in some instances about $2 and something cents per person. That's how much the $10,000 could give you if you have to share it amongst everybody on the voters list in that constituency. That each person might be, in some instances it went down to under $1. So we understand the challenges that our MPs are going through. So when people make these idiotic, nonsensical statements about, they're getting $10,000, put them in their place. And I think somebody that's afraid too much to put them in their place. Put them in their place. Yeah, and as folks, as we end tonight, just remember tomorrow night, it's going to be the meeting taking place in Grand Roy at the junction. All right, and they have the alternative in case rain and so on. Don't think that the thing off. In case rain, they have an alternative venue. So it is taking place tomorrow night, starting at 6:30. You can tune into Talking Points Network, whether on YouTube, on Facebook, and you will be able to follow what is taking place. All right, Dr. Modest did guarantee you that she will be speaking a bit about health. You'll hear a bit about health. You'll hear a bit about the other issues on the platform of the New National Party as they continue their series of public meetings around the island. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. My name is Sheldon Scott. It's been wonderful being here with you, and we want once again to thank Dr. Clarice Modest, the Honorable Dr. Clarice Modest, for being on with us tonight and for discussing the issue of what took place and what caused the opposition to decide today to stay away from Parliament. You can't have people doing something stupid all the time and doing things wrong and you just sit down there and condoning it. You have to get to a point where you let them know, hey, there's a problem there. Let us. And notice what Dr. Modest kept repeating. I kept saying, let them fix it. Dr. Modest kept saying, let us fix it. We are willing to work with you, in other words, to fix the problems that are happening in the Parliament. So, folks, as I said, that's all the time we have for tonight. And whatever you say, whatever you do, do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. Love each and every one of you.